Westbridge lives right here on WMUL FM Huntington, WFGH FM Fort Gay, and WTHM LP Ravenswood, West Virginia.
Marshall University's sports journalism major offers students the opportunity to develop skills in the exciting areas of print, public relations, or broadcasting. Our curriculum features terrific skill-based courses and prioritizes hands-on experiences that not only expose the students' work to the public, but also to sports journalism professionals who are often willing to provide crucial feedback. Marshall sports journalism majors cover our 15 varsity teams in any media format, including text, online, photo, radio, or video. Hands-on real-life experiences come through Marshall's student-powered media, The Parthenon, WMUL Radio, and MUTV, as well as communications campaigns and off-campus internships. The Marshall University School of Journalism and Mass Communications is ready and eager to help you start your sports journalism career. Learn more at marshall.edu/SOJMC.
Stay tuned for another sports presentation on the worldwide leader of Marshall University athletics coverage, the Cutting Edge Sports Radio Network. This is Sportsview, WMUL's premier sports talk show, featuring guests from Thundering Herd Athletics. Sportsview is presented by the award-winning FM 88 sports team. Now, here's tonight's host of Sportsview.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Sportsview. I'm Lydia Montague, your host for the first half of tonight's program. Stay tuned for the entire show for the second half with Nate Courtney. Sitting with me right now are members of Marshall University's tennis team. Sitting to my left, we have Rieke Gillar, and on my other side, we have Gabriella Clairotte. Rieke, Gabby, thank you guys for being with us tonight on Sportsview. I'd like to start off with basic introductions just to get to know you guys a little better. Rieke, this is your senior season as a member of Herd Tennis. Your freshman year was unfortunately postponed in the fall due to COVID-19, which must have been a pretty difficult thing to hear as a new kid coming to West Virginia from Germany. Tell us a little bit about your timing of recruitment and how you got to Marshall.
So I came in 2020. Right after COVID hit, so high school my last year was full with COVID, didn't really had the full experience. But actually for coming here was a lot better situation than back home in Germany. So for example, playing tennis wasn't possible over summer, even during the winter and everything. So a lot of my friends who went to university in Germany couldn't really go in person, didn't really make the connections, so that was a lot better. But yeah, going into that, the recruitment part, I did it together with the agency, who kind of like helped me with the whole process of doing all the tests, which is, I think for an international person, quite different for the experience. But that helped a lot, and then, obviously I talked to John, who got me here, by one of my former players from home. She actually went to Marshall. She graduated here, so that was kind of the connection I got to Marshall, and I'm still here.
Awesome. You said you were recruited by John. What was your first impression of him as a head coach?
He's like a father figure. He has 3 kids, actually 4, sorry, my bad. So he's really making sure that everyone is seen and heard, so that's really great. And to be honest, my first impression, it was really tough for me to understand him because of the accent. The amount of times I just nod or like say, yes, that's right, probably a couple times, but he was always really nice and supportive in that process.
Very cool. Were you able to go on like a visit or something before you committed?
Yeah, I did. So Marshall offered me the visit. So I think the October before I came here, I came here and then another school. So I actually stayed for 1 week, which was really nice. But yeah, so I got to see the university, met the girls, which was actually a big part of me coming to Marshall, just because I really like this kind of familiar, like family vibe that you got here. Everyone was super friendly, and even the girls and John. I mean, John's family plays a pretty important role for our team as well. So being welcomed by them during the visit was a big part as well.
Speaking of the other girls, Gabby, you went through a similar situation as well, coming to Marshall at around the same time as Rieke. Um, Tell us a little bit about your experience and how you meshed with the girls at first during the off season that you guys had.
So I think coming here, like in 2020, obviously with COVID, was kind of like, it was not rough, just a little bit like different, let's say that. But honestly, except of like testing on Sunday, it was pretty much open for everything except of tournament. But meeting the girl was, as Rika said, a big part of like, hey, I'm actually really good here. I'm really happy. We were really young actually, and a lot of senior were part of that team at the time, and I think they help us a lot like through the process and like understanding how it works and just getting more like into this like rhythm of like college life.
Awesome. Now, as I mentioned before, you guys are both entering your senior year this year, with some pretty impressive stats under your belt from this past season. Being double partners and accumulating a pretty solid record of 23-11 last season. Gabby, what are a few things you guys do in practice to prepare for a match together?
You mean as a double pair?
Yes.
So we practice a lot of drill actually, like basic like game, like coming up to the net, and obviously we practice every time like together with Rika, so we build a solid like doubles pair, and we came together, so it's been like 4 years. I know her by heart, so I think it helps a lot. And yeah, honestly, we work a lot actually also on basic tactic doubles, so like game plan, starting with the serve, the return, approaches. So yeah, pretty much a little bit of a mix of both, like tactic and also like communication.
What is one of your favorite moments as a doubles pair that you can remember from this past season, Rika?
Well, we had one weekend, and I think that's actually also we played in that fall before, but that was kind of the first time we played together during spring, and it was a big weekend. It was VCU and Penn State. So that was kind of like our first test from the coaches if it really works out together, and we both times I think won the clinching doubles, so the deciding doubles, which was really, I don't know, meaningful doing it together with Gab. Like, I think both of us wouldn't have expected that we would play good doubles together after those 4 years, because we never did it before in those last 2 years, like freshman year, sophomore year. So being paired together was already a surprise, and then that it worked out actually really great. And from there on, it actually just went up. We won against all those bigger schools, which was really nice, but that was like a really special moment, like clinching with her both of those days.
Very cool, very cool. As you guys said, you really enjoyed some good moments together as doubles pairs and got some great victories against bigger schools. You did have your first tournament, Thunder in the Mountains, I believe, this 2 past weekends ago. How do you guys plan on taking your success from last year and applying it to this year?
That kind of depends. So in fall, what we do a lot is, because I mean, our team is basically the same. We got a new teammate. She's from the Netherlands. She's really young, so we're kind of trying to adjust her to college, especially with a lot of international girls being on the team. The first time they come here, college is a lot different, especially tennis-wise, having this team aspect and really focusing not individually, but looking from a perspective of a team. So we're trying to mix it around a little bit to see who could work out together. I mean, obviously, Gabby and me are still playing a lot of doubles together, even in practices. But that past tournament, we mix it up. I think we play one doubles together. I think every doubles I play with a different partner to just see how it works out.
Right.
What are the different strengths? What did someone maybe work on during summer? So that's a big part of what we do during fall. And then usually towards the end in spring, we kind of have our specific doubles partner to kind of build on that during the whole season.
I was actually able to speak with your head coach, John Mercer, this past weekend about the first tournament. So as you said, it took a little bit to adjust to doubles partners maybe the first day, because it seemed like you had a bit of a rough first day against W and Cleveland State. So Gabby, what was the team conversation like after the first day, and what did you guys change between those 2 days in order to take the win?
I guess it was kind of like about, I cannot say communication, but more like, okay, come on, like energy. And it's often like really like kind of tough to like get into like this team atmosphere. What it's not really a match, it's not really an official game, it's like just a tournament, but it's still like this like team atmosphere that we need to like bring. So I think it was a lot about that, and we basically focused that it's in double or single. The main word were like footwork and like positive energy. So that was the main 2 words for the day 2.
Right. Rieke mentioned integrating the new girl, because I believe you all returned the 11 starting players from last season. So how was it kind of integrating her into this first tournament and getting her used to that?
I guess it was a lot about showing how loud you need to be, and like again this like positive energy, and that everyone is supporting each other. I think it was probably a big change for her, because as Rieke said, she's used to like individual tournament. It's really not the same atmosphere. So I think she did good, and she really did enjoy like experiencing this new like adventure like in team. And yeah, I think it's all about like gonna be like again like supporting each other and show her like kind of like the path, and like just support each other, be loud and be positive.
Very cool. Congratulations on that tournament's win.
Thank you.
Now that you have that first tournament of the season under your belt, the team is looking forward to Georgia Southern next weekend?
Actually, there's a change. We're going to Baltimore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that you're going to Baltimore, how do you plan on preparing for that match, maybe scouting-wise or in practice? How do you plan on specifically preparing for those matches?
It's a little different this time what we did the past 2 years, because we're only going with 4 girls. So what we did before was that we're going with the whole team. But we have the next 3 tournaments coming up that every time 4 girls are going. So from a team aspect, it's a little bit different. But I mean, in general, it's the same preparation for everyone, and especially during spring, I think a lot that we're working on right now is being consistent in our drills from the baseline, in our playing, doing a lot of tactics, but also doubles, trying to develop there some patterns we can use, and just actually just hitting a lot, trying to get a really good feeling for the ball, moving wise as well, and playing like points to get in that rhythm, especially next week. So the week before, we're gonna have 2 more practices before we leave. We usually play a lot of points, singles but doubles, trying to get in that mindset already, and kind of like already find, okay, how am I feeling this week? What are my strengths right now? Which is a big part of fall as well, finding out where your strengths are and what you got to work on, and then kind of implement that on the tournament.
Awesome. We will be taking a quick break, so that will be all for the first half of Sportsview for the Cutting Edge Sports Radio Network.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
G'day, mates. My name is Dango Mick, and I've come all the way from Australia in search of a creature that's spelled WMUL. I guess it's a woman. It's known only to exist on the Marshall campus. and its void has been known to induce a dependency on a wide variety of music that only it can supply. Crocky, there it is now, and it's attacking another radio station. Oh, but don't worry, kiddies, it'll be all right. It's only nature.
Hello and welcome back to Sportsview. Again, I'm your host, Lydia Montague, and I have with me two members of Herd Tennis. Now that we've talked about this season and how you guys are going to prepare for this coming tournament, I want to turn our conversation a little bit more towards the future as seniors. Where do you guys want to end up after, and what are you looking to go into study-wise? We'll start with you, Rieke.
That's a really good question. No, I actually do have a plan. So right now I'm in marketing, and well, after graduation I'm actually planning on staying in the U.S. Unfortunately, not at Marshall. I would like to see something else as well. Kind of like get a bigger network. And I would look into going for a sports management master's. I didn't decide yet where to go. I'm kind of in that application process right now where I'm going to see, okay, where do I want to go? What are my priorities? So that's a big part right now. But yeah, so do my master's here, but then in the future, I think I would like to go back to Germany, see if I then already go and get a job, or maybe do another master's as well. I mean, I'm still pretty young, so I still have, I feel like, a lot of options, and kind of want to specialize in some ways where I'm not sure which field I really want to go into. So that's the plan for now.
Very cool. Do you have any plans on maybe playing tennis after college, or are you done this year?
So I unfortunately don't have my fifth year, because we were the spring sport. I think all of the teams 2020-21 who were fall who got the fifth year, and we unfortunately didn't. But I could see myself doing like a graduate assistant coach for 1 or 2 years. I think that would be really cool. Other than that, I mean, a big part in Germany is that you still have a lot of tournaments, individual tournaments, but also team events. So usually when I come back in summer, I have team matches up to 6, and then in winter as well. So that's gonna be a big part. I mean, I'm still gonna, even when I go back to Germany, gonna play a lot of tennis. I'm gonna keep playing tournaments there, and team matches.
I think tennis is definitely one of those sports that you can play for a long time after you're done. So,
exactly.
You mentioned wanting to coach. How long have you wanted to do that? And do you have any past experience with that?
Yeah, so actually 2 years ago, I believe, I did my coaching license in Germany. And I'm kind of looking into advancing in that. So you have 3 areas in Germany where you can go into. I currently did the basic one. So I would look into going maybe doing one more, or advancing one more, and then I kind of started looking into it maybe like 2 years ago. I did a little bit over the summer, kind of as a summer job, and I kind of liked it. But I think college is a lot different from, for example, like lessons you give in Germany to little kids. It's more experienced. The players are by far better. So I think it would be actually really interesting to see that, and also you kind of bring that experience from a student athlete standpoint, which I think is really helpful. So yeah, so that's why I would kind of look into it. And I think it's just cool, still being with the team, still having this kind of experience, and this team aspect.
Definitely. Gabby, same question. What do you plan on doing after you're done playing tennis for Marshall?
So I actually applied last spring for the 3+2 program here at the Marshall. So I'm currently doing my MBA. So I currently enroll in like 2 classes during this fall and 1 class of master during spring. So that's gonna allow me basically to, I'm gonna stay at Marshall for my 5th year, unfortunately without tennis. So I'm gonna finish up my MBA next year, which I'm actually also like looking for any like internship or like this kind of like stuff more in my like field, so finance, business and stuff. But that's gonna be the plan, finishing up my 5th year, probably also looking forward to also like go back home and probably do another like master, I would guess, like in France or like in Europe in general. But yeah, that's gonna be probably the plan.
Right. Do you have any plans for coaching or anything?
Actually, not really. I think tennis will always be like a part of like my life. That's for sure. Even with like next year, I will like keep playing, keep like come like support the girl. But like I will like probably more like shift like all my focus on like studies and actually what what job, what like direction I want to take. So that's gonna be probably like this little shift.
For sure. Did you guys, I know you both came in the same year during freshman season. Tell me a little bit about first meeting each other. Did you hit it off pretty well? We'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, we did. So when I came, doing quarantine was still a thing in Holderby. So when we both came, I had to do quarantine for 2 weeks and completely isolated. So that was a really great first experience here.
I'm sure.
That was kind of tough, but right after that we met directly. And we were living together the first year as well. And for me, we clicked directly. And then since freshman year, we've been living together. We're living now together in an apartment. So that's been really special.
Awesome. Gabby?
Yeah, honestly, pretty much the same. I mean, we came in together. We like basically spent 24/7 together and like play doubles now together. I feel it's like even like adding even more like it's even more like meaningful, and like obviously like it's been great, and I'm for sure like that like Rieke is gonna be my friend for life. That's for sure.
I was actually, as I said, like the connection between you guys seems really genuine and really really real. So I was able to make it to a couple tennis matches in the spring, which was awesome. And I really admired your guys' team energy. So how do you guys work on like the mentality and team energy and culture within your team?
I would say that like, so obviously we have like double pair, and like, for example, like Rieke and I, we like both like really know each other and we know what we need from the other. But like as a team aspect, I would say it's really about supporting each other, as I said in the beginning. And like, for example, like just like if one person is saying like go her during practice, everybody's like screaming go her like to answer. It's just like, okay, motivating each other and like just come up even like before practice during warm up, hey, like how do you feel, like, oh, this is like, okay, let's go, let's get it, like we get it, and like we're gonna like start and like finish together, and like even if it's gonna be tough, like we in it together, and like that's how it works.
Right. Awesome. I did see a lot of that energy in the Sun Belt Conference tournament at the end of your spring season. You guys did make it to the semifinals, but unfortunately fell a little bit short. How do you plan on pushing past? I know this is in the future a little bit, but how do you start now on planning on pushing past that semifinal mark?
We actually just did. We just had a team meeting going through the teams we're going to play next year, which there's a lot of really good teams on there, especially in the first half before we start our regular season with conference. So we kind of went through those, kind of categorizing them, how we should approach those games. But I think a big part is what was tough last year is that we were really young as a team. We didn't have a senior. We had the 3 juniors.
Wow.
Were from Dora. She basically was her first year too. And then we had our 5 sophomores and the 2 freshmen. So that was really rough, and especially all of them starting, which is great for the experience. So I think going into this year we got a lot of experience we kind of all know each other, so we kind of grew together as a team, which was a big part last spring as well, because it's the first season together. You kind of get a feeling for each other, like doubles, singles, what does a person like when they're being on the court, what do you want me to tell you, do you want me to like push you, or maybe a little bit backing up. So I think for that part that really helps, and just developing as a team together, especially now. And I think we all have this mindset that this year could be the year of us to winning conference. There's been a lot of changes going on in Sunbelt too, so that's good. But just going confident in there, working really hard, and knowing what our goal is, and then trying to play even that first half, winning those big matches, and maybe going into conference ranked, which could be impressive. So I think that's kind of the plan, what we're looking for. But I think everyone is really optimistic this year, and really happy to go into that.
Awesome. I know it's a bit of a long road to the conference tournament, but I know there can be a lot of ups and downs in preparation. So is there anything specific you guys do as a team to get out of maybe tough spots during matches, or uplift a teammate who's going through it as she's playing?
So I mean, as Gabby said, a big part is supporting each other on and off court. I think we all got really close. We're spending a lot of time together, so just checking in and maybe getting a coffee together, and just having like a little like talk always helps. And then on the court, it's a lot about like the supportive part. A lot of like positive energy, seeing if someone is down or having like a moment. I mean, tennis, it's up and down. It's a roller coaster, and it can't always just go up. So trying to like get them out of those difficult situations, and like showing, okay, I'm here for you and you got this, and I truly believe in you. I think that's a big part that actually helps to make us even a better team.
For sure. Now that we've talked a little bit about team goals for the Sunbelt tournament and just throughout preparing for this season, let's talk a little bit about individual goals. Gabby, what are some of your goals to improve from this past season and move forward this season?
Some goal would be, I would say, actually keep playing doubles with Rieke, and like try to actually like improve as a double pair, and like increase, like maybe like a habits or pattern that like we can see that works well. So I think it would be like, as like talking about like our team, doubles team would be like actually having a good record like of like wins, obviously. And personally, I would say like improving obviously like my single game with like working hard, and like try to like being like really like asset like for the team, and like honestly like also like lift every time like my partner, and be like super supportive, and just like fight like as one, and like try until like conference. Let's
Definitely. Well, Gabby, Rieke, I want to thank you guys again for taking the time to join me tonight on Sportsview. I want to wish you guys good luck heading into Baltimore, not Georgia Southern, this next weekend, and I really hope it goes well. That will be all for our first half of Sportsview. For the Cutting Edge Sports Radio Network, I'm Lydia Montague.
Does showing up for work at a ballpark or an arena sound good to you? A Marshall University sports journalism degree can get you there. Sports journalism in Marshall is important. It's serious and it's big business. Sports media and communications careers are some of the most competitive and marketable worldwide in a multi-billion-dollar industry. We'll prepare you to think critically, report accurately, and artfully tell the stories on and off the field or court. If this sounds like you, the Marshall School of Journalism is ready and eager to start your journey. Learn more at marshall.edu/SOJMC.
I want my www.
broadcast voice of Marshall University, WMUL FM, Huntington.
Hello and welcome to the Sportsview Sports Update. My name is Ben Cower, and this evening we'll have reports on Marshall sports news during this segment of the program. Let's begin this evening with FM 88 Sports' John Boggus's recap of Marshall swimming and diving, where this past Saturday morning, Marshall hosted its annual green and white team competition.
Sometimes friendly competition is the best way to kick off a new season. That is what the Marshall swimming and diving team did Saturday when it competed in its green and white meet. The intra-squad meet was its first of the season in which the team is competing in the Sun Belt Conference for the first time. Half of the team was Team Green, with the other half being Team White for the meet's 16 events. Team White was victorious with a final score of 161 to 128. Senior swimmer Paige Banton said the meet was a good opportunity for the team to get to know each other better.
It's a great way to get to know our new teammates, our incoming freshmen. It's just a great way to have fun and build that rapport, and sets us up well for our future dual meets and larger competitions like midseason and conference.
The Marshall swimming and diving team features 9 freshmen this season. Freshmen such as Molly Warner, who won the 200 individual medley event, were able to showcase what they have to offer to the team. Head coach Ian Walsh said he was pleased with the effort he saw from the team's freshmen.
I was really curious about our freshmen. I thought they raced really hard, dealing with a little bit of nerves for some of them, but overall I thought it was a great atmosphere and we walked away learning quite a bit.
With the completion of the green and white meet, the Marshall swimming and diving team now sets its focus to the first inter-squad meet of the season this Friday and Saturday. The team travels to Morgantown, West Virginia for the West Virginia Games that West Virginia University will serve as host to. For FM 88 Sports, I'm John Boggus.
Thanks, John. Now here's FM 88 Sports' Johnathan Edwards, who visited Marshall Athletics' second annual Hoops in Huntington event this past Thursday. A preview of this upcoming season for Marshall Thundering Herd basketball.
The second annual Hoops in Huntington event took place on Thursday evening on 3rd Avenue. What some considered as an experiment last year when the idea surfaced now comes into its second year as another success. I spoke with members of the 2023 Marshall women's basketball team to hear about what changes might be visible on and off the court. Head coach Kim Caldwell kicks off her first year at the helm for Marshall after putting a lot of eyes on Glenville State over the past several years. In the last 2 seasons alone, Caldwell led Glenville to a combined 68-4 record, along with a Division II national championship. She aims to bring a healthy change to the culture surrounding the women's basketball program here at Marshall University.
It's going to take some time. Anytime you have to rebuild a culture, it takes a while. You have a lot of new players, and it's 17 players and 1 coach, and so sometimes it takes some time to chip away at it, and hopefully once we can get it rolling, we don't ever have to look back.
With Coach Caldwell's expectations made known, veteran players are already buying in. Abby Beeman, the senior point guard who led the Herd in scoring last year, is ready to step up once again.
Yeah, just doing whatever she asks us to do. If she asks me to lead, I try to do that as best my ability. Whatever she asks of me, I'm trying to make it easier on her so that her transition's smoother, and so is mine.
After coming off a freshman year that included a game where she racked up her season-best 17 points, sophomore Sydney Scott is looking to stay involved in the new and improved game plan by adapting to the faster pace.
Since we're at a faster pace this year, and I can actually I've been working on getting to the basket more, I feel like I can work on my 3 and getting to the basket, so I feel like that can be more points added.
The 2023 Marshall women's basketball season tips off October 29th in the Cam Henderson Center when the Herd faces off against U-Pike in what is being referred to as the fans' first game. From FM 88 Sports, I'm Johnathan Edwards.
Thanks, Jonathan. That will conclude the Sportsview Sports Update. After a quick break, we'll have the second half of this evening's program, where FM 88 Sports' Nate Courtney will sit down with Brynn Brown and Olivia Fogo of Marshall Volleyball. I'm Ben Cower, and stay tuned for more Sportsview coming up next, right here on the Cutting Edge Sports Radio Network.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Nate Courtney, and I will be your host for the second half of tonight's edition of Sportsview. Alongside me are members of the Marshall volleyball team. To my left is junior setter, and engineering major, hailing from Toledo, Ohio, Brynn Brown. And to my right is redshirt senior, right side hitter, and marketing major, coming from Louisville, Kentucky, Olivia Fogo. Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
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 All right. So to start this off, I'm going to start with Brynn. What led you to Marshall? What factors led you to choose Marshall over other schools that showed interest in you?
I chose Marshall because it was really the ideal school. Not too far from my house, they had every major that I was interested in. They have a really good engineering program, which was one of my main interests. And then also, I fell in love with the culture after talking to Ari on the phone and seeing her at recruiting trips, and just where we were headed towards, like Marshall volleyball's future. It really aligned with what I had in mind for my goal of my college career. So Marshall was just really the perfect fit.
And you, Olivia?
As a transfer, I came from a different school, and it just wasn't the right fit. And I wanted to find somewhere a little bit closer to home. And Marshall's only 3 hours from Louisville, so that was a big selling point for me. And I actually transferred during COVID, so I didn't get an official visit. So I came down with my parents and just kind of went around campus myself, and then off my phone calls with Ari, just the same thing, hearing about the culture and what it's like here and the expectations that are set for the girls and the team that we have. It was just really appealing to me, and it was an environment that I wanted to be in. And then also as a business major, I heard about Brad Smith and him coming in for the business school, so that was a big sell for me.
Okay, and leading off that last point, Olivia, I understand that you have had quite the journey throughout your collegiate playing career.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about your journey and how you managed to get where you are, and along with dealing with the injuries throughout your career and how that has kind of affected your playing and all that?
Yeah, so my senior year of high school, I tore my ACL, and luckily I had been talking to a coach at the time, so I was able to commit and still be able to play college volleyball. I was unable to play my freshman year just because of that injury, so I pretty much spent the whole year rehabbing, and like I said, it just wasn't the right fit, and so I ended up transferring out my freshman year, but without any playing film and any experience, it was like tough recruiting out. So I ended up going home back to the University of Louisville for what I call like my academic semester. And I wasn't involved with any kind of division sports programs. I played with my club at home and got in the gym every single day and just kept going. And then when COVID hit that summer and we just started getting back to school, I spent that time continuing to work out and get reps and trying to talk to coaches. And I called Ari and got a conversation with her, and it was to the point where I even told her, I was like, hey, if it's just a manager position and I can try and work my way in, I will. I just want to be involved. And there was a spot for me on the team. So coming in, I had no college experience. I hadn't played a game in like 2 years, but just coming in feeling fully supported and dealing through that injury and knowing that I could be confident in myself and just go for it because I had nothing holding me back.
And Brynn, I understand that you tore your labrum last year, and throughout this, you did most of your rehab throughout the summer. How has the healing process been? Like, is it still going on? And how has the return to the court been for you?
Yeah, it's definitely been a long progress. Every day I worked here over the summer, so I was able to stay with my trainer Morgan, and we kind of made a program for rehab for my labrum, and it's not all the way there yet, but obviously it's to the point where I can play to my potential, and I feel I'm doing as best as I can. I would say it's definitely a process that you have to trust being hurt and not foregoing with surgery. You have to, there's going to be tough days, there's going to be tough matches, but I know that I put in the work this summer to get my shoulder to where it needs to be, and I'm very proud of that, and I want to thank Morgan, and I want to thank the Marshall Health staff because they really got me to where I am today, and I'm very thankful.
Awesome. And, being a Division I athlete, I'm sure recruitment was a big part of, your last year of high school. And so how was the recruiting process for both of you? And were you recruited only to play volleyball? Or did you have any other offers playing different sports coming out of high school? I'll start with Olivia.
Yeah, so I was just recruiting for volleyball. My high school is kind of tough with athletics, so it's like a tough schedule, so it's hard to play multiple sports. So I just played volleyball. I actually ran track and field my freshman year of high school, yeah. But then I just went straight into volleyball. I was kind of a late recruit. I just wasn't super sure if I wanted to play in college. I didn't know what it was going to be like for me, and getting into my senior year was probably when I really got serious. And like I said, it was a bit of a tough journey just with my ACL and everything, but luckily I was able to find a school and it led me to where I am today. So
Awesome. And you, Brynn?
My recruiting process happened pretty early, actually. I committed to Marshall when I was 16, going on 17, I believe. And for me, I did play basketball in high school, and that was kind of my first love. But I think playing travel volleyball, and it was my freshman year of high school, is where I kind of really knew, like, this is what I wanted to do, and volleyball is what I wanted to do in college. So I took that a little bit more serious. I stopped playing basketball my junior year, and that was when I also committed to Marshall. So I kind of went full focus into volleyball, and I've been in love with it ever since.
Awesome. And staying with Brynn, during your high school career, you won numerous awards, such as the VCA All-Region. You also won NLL Player of the Year and District 7 Player of the Year. Can you elaborate on those awards and if it helped with your recruiting any?
I'm not sure if it helped in my recruiting because I think I got those after I already committed, but they are like good notches to have on my belt. And it's crazy because I didn't really, like, my goal wasn't to be Player of the Year. My goal wasn't to have the best stats. I just wanted to win. And so just by chance that I was able to get those honors and nominations from different coaches in the league, different players, I'm very proud of myself. And I just want to, like, say thank you to my high school coach, Lindsay Van Nett, and my mom as well, Gretchen. She helped me a lot through that process and really, like, instilled me with good foundation volleyball in high school to lead me to college.
Awesome. And, one of the next points is I noticed that both of you have been recognized for your efforts inside the classroom, winning some awards in the past for having a high enough GPA. How important is academics to the team, and how hard does Coach Agnes push you guys when it comes to performing in the classroom?
So our team has a motto, and it's humans first, students second, athletes third. Obviously, they're all still very high priority, but she does know that being a human comes first, and then academics comes in front of athletics. We have study hall hours. We all put our work in at the buck. We make sure we keep our grades up, and Ari does stay on us because she knows it is important for life after college. I mean, not a lot of us are going to get to play pro, so it's important to set up those foundations early, and she keeps us accountable for it for sure.
Awesome. And Brynn?
I would like to add, we also keep each other accountable. We do have to get our buck hours. We make sure everyone has their buck hours done by the week. We make sure people are turning in assignments. And we like to take the load off of the coaches for academics and try to put it on ourselves. I know I try to make sure my stuff's done. Liv makes sure her stuff's done. So we have a few academic leaders that love to take charge and make sure the few that struggle keep above water.
Awesome. And continuing with Coach Agnes, how is Coach Agnes different from other coaches that you have played for during your career? What qualities does head coach Ari Agnes possess that sets her apart from other college coaches or other high school coaches?
Well, I would say she's very passionate about what she does, and that passion bleeds on to us. She makes sure that we're playing volleyball for the right reason, and if we're not playing for that reason, to find that reason why and really become passionate about that. I really didn't know why I played volleyball until I got to college, and I realized it was because I want to make my family proud. I want to make myself proud, and Coach Agnes really helped me find that reason and fall in love with volleyball even more.
Awesome. And you, Olivia?
I think probably one of the biggest things, and she's just like unapologetically herself and not afraid to do what she wants, say what she wants. Like, she is very much confident in herself, and it's a great role model for everybody on the team. But also, she's like, will take nothing from you. Like, she'll give it back to you. Like, she just has that relationship with all the players, and she has a lot of things that she sticks to. And I think it's really commendable that she's able to like stay herself, and it sets a good example for all of us.
Awesome. And, moving on to actual play, what has been your favorite Sunbelt school to play against and why?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Are we talking this year or
Yeah.
like ever?
Ever.
Oh.
I'm going to go with this year. I'm going to say ODU.
I was just about to say that.
That second day when we swept them, it was crazy because obviously we fell short the first day, but we were walking pregame somewhere, and I was with, I believe it was Riley and Kylie, and I go, we're going to sweep ODU today. And then we go out and sweep ODU, and I was like, I said that before the game. I put this in the air. Like, it was just it felt very accomplishing, especially since ODU was ranked higher than us. To chip them and split them one win and one loss with them on the weekend was amazing.
I'd probably have to agree. I think it was just like the energy of being down 24-18 in the last set and like fighting our way at every single point and coming back. It was like every time we got it, just like energy kept going up and up and up. And then when we swept at the end, it was just like, it was insane. So I'd say that one for sure was my most enjoyable moment.
Okay, and then that leads to my next point or question. Is there a certain school that you would like to play against that you haven't already gotten to play against? Like any division?
Do you mean this year or?
Just ever.
Well, since I am from Toledo, I would love to go home for my senior year, go home and play Toledo at home and, sweep Toledo.
Me personally, no. I don't have any like attachments to other schools or necessarily like biases. I just focus on who's in front of me and focus on winning against them. So
That's awesome. And back to your team now. Is there anything that you guys do off the court, like bonding wise? And if there is, what's your guys' favorite thing to do?
Well, this preseason, we stayed out at Heritage Farm for, was it a week or 2 weeks?
yeah, it was 6 nights, 7 days, 6 nights.
Yeah, so we would go to Heritage Farm. We would do team bonding. We would no phones were allowed. We would just, me and you, talking. And then we would do some activities. We would sleep together in the same room, wake up, go to practice, do that all over for a week. And then what else have we done for, like, team bonding?
I mean, we've just, spent time like pregame meals and stuff like that. We're not on our phones, so that's a lot of bonding. And probably some of the most fun is our bus rides. Like, we definitely use those times to like have fun and just be ourselves and be with each other. So we take those little moments on top of like the scheduled team bonding just to really like be within our team.
Awesome. And with that, we're going to step aside for a quick break as you're listening to Sportsview on the Cutting Edge Sports Radio Network.
Wondering what to do on a dull day? Well, I get kinda tired of hearing that same old music. MUL's got real variety, from jazz and blues to rock and progressive. 88.1's the place to be. I'm at WMUL, Marshall University.
Hey, Chris, late for swim practice, no?
I decided it wasn't really my thing.
But you liked swimming, and with your grades down last semester, at least it could help with college. Oh, some kid, Frank, came by. I knocked on your door, but you didn't answer. Hey, where are your new sneakers?
Oh, I forgot them at school.
Well, you seem to be forgetting a lot lately.
The signs are there. So is our help. For advice on coping with teen drug use, visit the partnership at drugfree.org.
Welcome back to Sportsview. I'm Nate Courtney, alongside members of the Herd volleyball team, Brynn Brown to my left and Olivia Fogo to my right. And in the first half of the second half of this program, we talked about their personal accomplishments and pathways to Marshall. And now we're going to start talking about more team-centric. So with the Sun Belt Conference Tournament coming up next month, how is the team planning to prepare for an event like that? Is there any pregame preparation different that you guys are doing now that you're in conference play? And if so, what are some of those changes?
I think there's definitely like another level to conference. Obviously, there's like that mental switch where you kind of got to kick it up. Preseason's obviously important. Every single game's important, but with conference, it just brings a new meaning. But I think also we're not looking too far ahead. We're taking it one game at a time and focusing on our opponent that weekend. So, yeah, we're definitely bringing in another level for conference of focus and accountability. But, it's just one game at a time.
And it's nice now because we are playing the same team one weekend. We're not playing 3 or 4 teams in a weekend. So we can really dedicate that whole week to a certain scout, to certain players on the other team, and really focus on what we need to key in to win and how we can be successful against the opposing teams.
Awesome. You guys already have the same number of wins as last season, only halfway through this one. What are some of the bigger changes that you guys have noticed during this season up to this point that have helped improve the play on the court compared to last season?
I don't think our team looks a lot to the past. I think it's something that we try to do is to be in the present, be where our feet are. And I think, at least in my opinion, this year, we just have a team that's very unified and we just click in a way. I think we have so much talent and that helps us obviously a lot on the court, but at the same time I think everybody accepts and appreciates their role that they have on the team. And then we also have a lot of girls that genuinely like to see other people succeed in their roles as well.
I would like to say we're very resilient. We get our backs pushed against a wall and we don't crumble, whereas last year we would kind of crumble a bit and then we'd be down too much to even come back from that. So I feel like this year we go down a few points. We're not really stressing. We're not worried. We're like, we know we got this. We trust in our abilities. Like, let's go. And I really think it's a mental flip from last year to this year.
Awesome. And I've noticed the phrase "we over me" all over Herd Volleyball social media. Can you guys elaborate on that phrase and what it really means to you?
Yeah, so it just means putting the team first. It means thinking about your teammates and those around you and making a decision before you put your needs before others.
Right. It's really being selfless. A lot of times, even though volleyball is a team sport, people want to get selfish and worry about their stats, what they're doing well. But with the we over me, we're really focused on how can I make this other person next to me look better? How can I set this ball up so I make Liv look great? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can I make this pass look like it's the best pass in the world? So I feel like we really embraced that this year, especially with us being resilient and us being more tight-knit as a team, where it really is we over me, and we're not too worried about the personal accolades, the personal problems and everything.
Awesome. Olivia, I understand that last week you won the Hard Hat Award. Can you elaborate on what that award is specifically and what it meant to you when you won the award?
Yeah, so the Hard Hat Award is about somebody that week that just showed an extra level of hard work, dedication, discipline, all that kind of stuff. It's somebody that was a best teammate that week that you could really see put their effort in. And do you want to add anything else? And I feel like I'm...
Yeah, Hard Hat is really just about who comes in and who puts their head down and just does the work. Like I said, being selfless sometimes will win you the hard hat. You're doing what makes others better. Liv, I'm very proud of you because she did suffer an injury in the beginning of the season, so her role as a leader did change a little bit, but I never questioned her leadership role ever, whether that was because she couldn't affect us on the court. She was helping us off the court more than she knows.
And I think that's probably what made it the most gratifying getting it, because I am back to play now. I'm still a little bit limited, but being able to be recognized for always staying that consistent in my leadership and in my effort, it was obviously a good thing to feel.
Awesome. And you guys are 2-2 going in conference play already, going 1-1 in both series of the opening two. What are the keys going into this next series with Troy, and really for the rest of the season that the team is looking to focus on?
I think we're really focused on consistency. A lot of times what happens when we go down by these couple runs, it's because we'll get a good pass and then we won't get a good hit, or we'll get a good pass, a bad set. So we're we're trying to get more even, key and peel, and figure out how we can be more successful without being too high and without being too low.
I think also the Sun Belt is a very tough conference in that every team is competitive. Every team will go up, they'll hit big, they got defense, they're scrappy. So it's really just having that confidence, but also planning ahead and knowing the team that you're playing. So the first day we can come out and beat them by being smart, beat them by making adjustments. And then the second day we can do the same thing when they try to adjust. So knowing that we're going to have to fight and we're going to have those moments that may be tough, but we're still together and we're still resilient.
Right. Our coaches do a really good job scouting the other team. So they really provide us with everything the other team is good at. So as long as we can stay focused on that scout and to the game plan, we'll be unstoppable.
Awesome. And Brynn, during that final match of the series on Friday, you had a match-high 41 assists, which led to a double-double. How does a performance like that, even though you guys lost, frame your outlook on the rest of the season?
I'm very hopeful. 41 assists is huge. I feel like, is that a career high for me? It has to be somewhere close to it, but 41 is really big. And so that really just means my hitters are doing their job. That means my passers are doing their job. And it's always great when everyone is able to do their job. And unfortunately, we did come up short. That doesn't mean that if we keep doing this, we're going to keep coming up short. Eventually, if we keep going strong, everyone does their job, we're going to come out with these W's and we're going to be unstoppable.
And while that isn't the most assists you've had on the season, now that you've had 2 40-plus assist matches, is that the new benchmark from here on out for every match?
I would like it to make the benchmark. I would like to make 50 the benchmark, top it. But I just think if I just keep working and us as a team, we keep putting our heads down and grinding, I think that could be my new goal.
Shooting for 50, I see.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, and after sweeping Georgia State in the first match last Thursday, but then ended up losing to them in 5 sets the day after on Friday, what changed in between the two matches? Where was the focus directed, in between?
I mean, obviously that night after the win, we enjoyed ourselves for a couple minutes, but then went to sleep, got up the next morning, had practice, and then went over the scout again. I think it's just the same thing of what Brynn said earlier, is consistency. I don't think we brought maybe the same discipline in the second game, and we just had a couple errors, and then when we got to the end, we just couldn't execute, and that's what really let us drop that last set.
That's what's tough about playing the team back-to-back, is they're going to adjust and we're going to adjust. So I think Georgia State adjusted very well to us. And so if we can do the same thing and maybe focus on adjusting to them a little bit more, then I believe next time we'll come out with the win.
And building off that last question, what are some of the things you guys are changing in preparation for Troy, especially since last year's matches against the Trojans didn't exactly pan out the way you guys wanted it to?
Yeah, we're really focusing in on a few of their key players. We believe if we shut them down or at least contain them, then we'll be able to be successful.
Yeah, we've been working on a new defensive system, so we're really just tailoring it to them this weekend to try and find their weak points, and then we're being really big on offense this weekend. The whole week, Ari's just said, go for it, swing hard, because that's what they're going to do to us. So not only does it prepare our defense for what they're going to bring, but it gets us ready to just give them the same thing back this weekend.
Awesome. And with that question, I would love to thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this week's edition of Sportsview. Tune in at 6 p.m. next Wednesday for another edition of Sportsview. For the WMUL 88.1 Cutting Edge Sports Radio Network, I'm Nate Courtney. Next up is Ben Cower on Speed Zone.
Thanks for listening to the award-winning Sportsview. Tune in again next week at 7 p.m. for more Sportsview on the worldwide leader in Marshall University sports coverage, WMUL 88.1.